Imagine this. You're standing on a railroad track. Ahead of you, 5 people are tied down, unable to move, and a train is rushing toward them. Nearby, there's a lever. If you pull it, the train will switch tracks and head toward a single person tied down on the other track. If you don't, 5 people will die. So, what would you do? It sounds simple, but it's one of the most famous and perplexing moral dilemmas. These dilemmas aren't just hypothetical. They reveal deep truths about how we think and feel. For example, research from Harvard shows that our brain deals with these decisions by engaging 2 conflicting areas: the prefrontal cortex, which tries to rationalize, and the amygdala, which triggers emotional responses. It's like having 2 voices in your head, arguing over what to do. But why are we discussing this? Because dilemmas like these are more than just train problems. They force us to confront who we are, what we value, and how we make decisions that define lives. Perhaps the most unsettling question is there even a right choice? Or are we just justifying actions to ease our conscience? Hold on to that question, because as we explore even more challenging dilemmas, we'll come back to the trolley problem. By then, the answer might not be as clear as you think. But first, let's dive into why these dilemmas have such a powerful hold on us. Moral dilemmas are like mirrors reflecting our inner contradictions. They force us to choose between equally important values, like saving lives or respecting individual rights. But why do these decisions feel so impossible? The answer lies in how our brain operates, constantly battling between reason and emotion. Research by Joshua Green at Harvard reveals that, when faced with moral dilemmas, the amygdala triggers fast emotional responses, while the prefrontal cortex analyzes the pros and cons. This internal conflict often leaves us feeling paralyzed. It's why you might feel a knot in your stomach before you even have time to think about the solution. These dilemmas are also shaped by culture and experience. What seems acceptable to one person might be completely unacceptable to another. For example, in some societies, sacrificing one to save many is seen as a moral duty, while in others, individual integrity is sacred. This raises a troubling question. Is morality universal, or is it shaped entirely by context? This paradox forces us to wonder, if our decisions are influenced by instincts, culture, and context, can we trust our own morality? Are we simply products of external forces? To explore this further, let's look at a real-life example of a dilemma that challenges even the strongest values. Sacrificing one healthy patient to save 5 others. Imagine this. You are a respected doctor with 5 patients in critical condition. Each one needs a different organ transplant to survive. In the next room, there's a healthy patient undergoing a routine checkup. If you sacrifice this healthy individual, their organs could save all 5. The question is, would you do it? This classic dilemma pits utilitarianism against deontological ethics. Utilitarianism, championed by philosophers like Jeremy Bentham, argues that we should aim for the greatest good for the greatest number. In this case, sacrificing one life to save 5 seems logical. But deontological ethics, which focuses on moral principles like do not kill, would deem such an action unacceptable, no matter the consequences. Studies show that most people reject the idea of sacrificing the healthy patient. Why? Beyond the moral implications, this decision would erode trust in the medical system. Who would visit a doctor if they feared becoming a spare parts donor? This highlights the tension between protecting individuals and pursuing collective benefits. This dilemma forces us to ask, are we more inclined to protect the individual because it benefits us socially? Or is there intrinsic value in every human life? This question doesn't have an easy answer. And as we move forward, we'll see how extreme circumstances can push even the most rigid moral values to their limits. Let's explore the next dilemma, the crying baby. Why do these dilemmas leave us so unsettled? They expose something profound, the struggle between emotion and logic in a world without absolute answers. Philosophically, this ties to nihilism. If, as Nietzsche argued, there are no universal truths, how can we determine what's morally right? This uncertainty is both terrifying and liberating. Facing dilemmas forces us to create meaning in chaos. Sartre argued that we are condemned to freedom, meaning we must choose our values and live with the consequences. Dilemmas like the doctor's organs reveal that, deep down, there are no perfect answers, only decisions that define who we are. Psychological studies suggest that people who have clarity about their own values experience less anguish when facing moral dilemmas. This indicates that embracing the lack of universal truths can lead to more authentic, values-driven lives. The discomfort we feel isn't a curse. It's an opportunity for self-discovery. But can we ever make moral decisions without being influenced by our instincts or emotions? In the next dilemma, we'll see how extreme situations can test even the most deeply held values. Prepare for a scenario that will challenge your moral compass. The crying baby. Imagine this. You're hiding with a group of people during a war. The room is silent, and everyone is holding their breath to avoid detection by enemy soldiers. Suddenly, a baby starts crying. If the baby continues, the soldiers will find you and kill everyone. Your only choice is to smother the baby to save the group. Would you do it? This dilemma is not just about survival. It's about the elasticity of morality in extreme circumstances. Psychological studies of war suggest that, in life-or-death situations, decisions are shaped by instincts for self-preservation and social pressure. However, the guilt of such choices can haunt individuals for a lifetime. Psychologist Paul Bloom argues that emotions often overpower logic in these scenarios. The thought of harming a baby, even to save others, conflicts with our protective instincts and societal values. It's a decision that feels morally repugnant, yet highlights how context can force us to confront impossible choices. This dilemma also raises another question. Is morality relative to the situation, or are there universal values that should never be broken? The crying baby forces us to acknowledge that sometimes there are no solutions free from suffering. This discomfort is a window into our humanity, revealing the fragile balance between emotion and reason. And speaking of difficult decisions, could machines do better at resolving these dilemmas? Let's dive into the role of science and artificial intelligence in moral decision-making. As technology advances, a haunting question emerges. Could machines handle these moral dilemmas better than we can? Autonomous cars already face such scenarios. For example, when an accident is inevitable, should the car prioritize the safety of its passengers or the pedestrians crossing the street? These decisions might seem cold and logical, but they're programmed by humans, carrying all of our biases and limitations. The MIT conducted an experiment called the Moral Machine, gathering millions of responses worldwide to understand how people think machines should handle moral dilemmas. The results were fascinating. Decisions varied significantly across cultures. In some countries, people prioritized saving younger lives. In others, elders were seen as more deserving of survival. This reveals that even programmed morality reflects the complexities of human thought. Delegating such decisions to machines raises profound ethical concerns. Machines lack the empathy that shapes human morality, but they also aren't swayed by emotions or prejudice. This brings up a difficult question. Does the absence of emotion make decisions fairer, or does it strip them of the humanity that makes morality meaningful? It's a double-edged sword. These technological advancements show that moral dilemmas are no longer just philosophical debates. They're practical issues affecting our daily lives. They reveal how contradictory our expectations are. We want machines to be flawless, yet programmed with the imperfections of human morality. So, what does this say about us? As we near the end, let's return to the trolley problem and tie all these dilemmas together to answer the ultimate question. Who are we really, now that we've explored dilemmas that test our emotions, logic, and even the role of machines? Let's return to the trolley problem. Remember the initial question. Would you kill one person to save 5? After all we've discussed, the answer may not be as simple as it first seemed. These dilemmas reveal that morality isn't a fixed equation, but a reflection of our humanity and the context in which we live. The trolley problem isn't really about finding the right answer. It's about exposing our values, vulnerabilities, and contradictions. Neuroscience shows that even when we make rational decisions, our emotions leave a lasting mark. This complexity is what makes us human, our ability to feel empathy, even when logic points us elsewhere. Philosophically, these dilemmas confront us with the absence of absolute truths. Nietzsche argued that we must create our own meaning, and while that freedom is empowering, it also comes with a burden, the responsibility for our choices. Perhaps that's why these dilemmas resonate so deeply. They force us to confront the uncertainty of life and accept that sometimes there are no perfect answers. But there's hope in this uncertainty. Our ability to reflect, question, and learn from these moral challenges is what helps us grow. It's not about seeking flawless solutions, but understanding the reasons behind our decisions and using them to shape a better future. So now, I turn the question back to you. What would you do in these dilemmas? And more importantly, what do your choices reveal about who you are? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep this conversation going, because through discussion, we gain deeper insights into ourselves and the world around us.